All right, what we're going to be doing in the next 6 problems is factoring the greatest common factor. Now, the instruction for this might say factor the greatest common factor. It might just say factor as much as possible. So we're going to do as much as we possibly can. We are always going to start, anytime that we think we're going to factor, we're going to start factoring by finding the common factor, because that's going to simplify things. In many cases, it will then allow us to do a second step. Okay, now none of these in this set will do that, but for now, if you can take it out by all means. So let's look at these 3 terms. I note right off the bat that 5 goes into all of these. Something else we should note is that the leading coefficient is negative. If the leading coefficient is negative, you really should factor out that negative as part of your common factor. Okay, we also see that all of them have x's. But this one right here on the end only has 1x, so I can't take out more than 1. Then I look at the y's. This one's got 3, 4, and 4, which means that I can't take out more than 3. That's the greatest number that's common to all of them. So I said negative 5 is common, I said an x is common, and then I said y to the third is common. So I'm going to pull that out. Essentially, I'm doing the distributive property backwards. And so when I pull that out, I'm going to divide each of the terms by this, because if I were to redistribute, that would be multiplication. So negative 25 divided by negative 5 is 5. X to the 7th divided by x is x to the 6th. And y to the third divided by y to the third is 1, or y to the 0, which means they cancel out. We'll move on to the next one. 35 divided by negative 5 is negative 7. X to the third divided by x is x squared. Y to the fourth divided by y third. 4 minus 3 is 1. All right, then we'll move on to the last set. 20 divided by negative 5 is negative 4. X divided by x, those are the same. So x divided by x, 1 minus 1 is 0, or x divided by x is 1. So x to the 0 is 1. They cancel each other out, essentially. And then I've got a y to the fourth over y to the third, which will leave me with a y. Now I look at this. This is not a quadratic trinomial. It's not the difference of squares. I can't use grouping. And therefore, this is as far as this can be factored with the information that with the knowledge that we now have. That's the answer. Let's go on to number 2. So number 2 is somewhat similar. So number 2 looks like this. 3x to the third, y to the third, plus 3x squared, y to the third, plus 10x y cubed. All right, so let's go ahead and try to figure this one out. Is there any numbers that are common to all 3 of these? Well, 3 goes into both of these, but it doesn't go into the 10. It's not common to all of these terms, therefore I can't take out the 3. Well, how about the letters? Well, I see an x in all of them. This one only has 1x. Therefore, the most x's that I can take out is 1. Any more than that, and this is going to give me a negative exponent. We already know that negative exponents are bad news. Okay, then we look at the y's. Well, I see 3 here, 3 here, 3 here, which means I can take out 3. And so let's see what we have left when we do that. So xy to the third, which leaves me with 3, because 3 divided by 1 is 3. X to the third divided by x is x squared. Then we'll divide it out of this one, so I'll have plus 3. X squared divided by x is x. The y to the third comes out. And then last of all, I've got 10 divided by 1, so that'll be 10. X divided by x cancels out, and y to the third divided by y to the third cancels out, and so we're left with this. Now at this point I would try to factor it. Now I already know that this one cannot be factored. And so since it can't be factored, we'll just leave it as such. You don't believe me? Go ahead. Try to factor it. Good luck. All right, on to number 3. Question number 3. Let's go 8x to the fourth plus 4x squared y squared. So again, we'll look at what's common. I see that 2 goes into both of these, but I know that 4 goes into both of these as well. So I got to take the biggest number. Now, just for demonstration's sake, I'll show you that it still works if you don't do the right number to start with. So let's take out a 2. I see there's 4 x's here and 2 there, so I can take out a maximum of 2. All right, now y's, there's not y's common, so we'll just leave it as such. 8 divided by 2 is 4. x squared divided by, x to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. The x squared divided by x squared will cancel out, and I'll be left with y squared. Now I look at these, and I see that there is still a 2 common. And so I have not factored completely. I need to factor the 2 out as well, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that before I look at it any further. So I'm going to take another 2 out. Now when you pull it out, you're dividing it out of these and multiplying it by this one, because this eventually has to go back in. So I take another 2 out. 2 times 2 is 4. So now it's 4x squared. Divide this by 2, and you have 2x squared. Divide this by 2, and you have plus y squared. And so you get the same thing as if you had taken the 4x squared out in the beginning. Cool, so that's number 3. On to number 4. Number 4 will look like this. Negative 35 x to the fourth y plus 28 x to the third y to the fourth. We're looking for a greatest common factor. What goes into both 35 and 28? Well, what goes into 35? I guess 7. Oh, 7 goes into 28 as well. How about that? Now recognize that there is a negative in front of the leading coefficient. And so we really want to take out that negative. Now, I would kind of be iffy on that in this case because this is not in standard form, is it? Really, the 28 should be first. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to rewrite it as 28x to the third y to the fourth minus 35x to the fourth y, which means that now all I really need to take out is the 7. X's, well, this one's got 3, that's got 4, so I can take out 3 of them. And then y's, y to the fourth and y, so I can take out a maximum of 1y because this one only has 1. So 28 divided by 7 is 4. X to the third divided by x to the third is 1, cancels out. Y to the fourth over y is y cubed. Negative 35 over 7 is minus 5. X to the fourth over x to the third is x. And then y divided by y cancel each other out. And so there you go. You're left with this. That would be the answer to number 4. Let's move on to number 5. Let's change colors. This blue is driving me crazy. So number 5. Number 5 goes 32y to the fifth minus 24xy squared plus 24. Here we go. We'll take out the common factor. What goes into all of these? Well, for sure 4 does. All right, so we can take out a 4, or you can think a little bit more. Let's see, 4 goes into it. Does anything else go into it? What goes into 32? Well, 4 and 8. Okay, so does 8 go in? Oh, 8 goes into all of them. Let's try 8 then. Okay, 8. And then y's. Those two have y's, but that one doesn't. And that one has an x, but those don't. So it doesn't look like we can take out any letters at all. So 8 and the 32 is 4. And then we still have the y to the fifth. 24 divided by 8 is negative 3 xy squared. And then again, 24 divided by 8 is another 3. So there you go. There's nothing else common to all 3 terms, and therefore you can't go any further. That's what we do. All right, let's do the last one. Number 6 in this set will be negative 72x to the sixth y to the fifth plus 80x to the fourth y to the fourth plus 24x squared y to the sixth. All right, I look at these numbers. What can I find? Let's see, 24. What goes into 24? 2 goes into 24. Okay, 2 goes into all those, so 2 is a pretty good number. How about 4? 4 goes into 24. It goes into 80. Let's see, into 72. Oh, yeah, 4 goes into that as well. All right, so we've got a 4. How about an 8? Does 8 go into them? 8 goes into 24. 8 goes into 80. 8 times 9 is 72. So 8 works as well. All right. Anything bigger than 8? Let's see. 12 doesn't go into 80. So let's try 8. I don't know. Let's try 8. Notice that the leading coefficient is negative, so I really should take out a negative 8. Negative 72 divided by negative 8 is 9. Holy smokes. I forgot the x's. Let's see, I got 2 x's is the maximum I can take out because it's 6, 4, and 2. And then y's are 5, 4, and 6. So that one has 4. That's the least number, so that's the most that I can take out. So now we'll go ahead and take it out. Negative 72 divided by negative 8 is 9. X to the 6th over x squared is x to the 4th. Y to the 5th over y to the 4th is y. And then I'm going to go 80 divided by negative 8, which is negative 10. X to the 4th over x squared is x squared. Y to the 4th over y to the 4th cancels out. 24 divided by negative 8 is minus 3. X squared over x squared cancels out. Y to the 6th over y to the 4th leaves me with y squared. All right, so there we go. I think that's as far as we can go. I don't see any other numbers that go into both all three, 9, 10, and 3. So that's the last of the set.